I'd like to reconvene the meeting for the St. Mary's County Board of Education for Wednesday, June 26, 2024. We will begin with the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First up, may I have a motion to approve the agenda?
I move approval of the agenda as presented.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Dr. Smith, you're up. With
All right, well, I don't really have,
Update?
so it's June 26th. That in itself is pretty
amazing.
momentous. Little bit about like what our kids are doing. In fact, what our kids are doing this week at Leonardtown High School. We have the Summer Arts Academy being offered, where we have fantastic performances. We have band, we have chorus, we have theatrical work, we have artwork created. But our kids are all there. They're doing a really good job. Summer athletic youth camps have opened as well, and they're going really well, and they're figuring out exactly how to be out in the heat and enjoy and learn. But it's been going really well. The division of instruction. So what I ask each one of the division heads for to just kind of throw a couple of things up that we are working on this summer, so that the general public doesn't think that we spend the summer. Just, we are probably busier in the summer at central office and in supporting services and in finance and HR than almost any other time of the year. It's very targeted and thoughtful. It's the work that most people really love to delve into over the summer. So within the Division of Instruction, and Dr. Montgomery just had them all together for a retreat, so they could talk about things this summer and forecast into next year and talk about some of our overarching themes. So we've done professional development. We're going to be doing educational technology. We're going to be doing ELA and math, our continued work with the same products. And so Bridges, Foundation, Benchmark after a full year of being utilized. Now we'll come back around and talk about what worked really well and tweak all of our materials and for next year. Program of studies, we do a full review and planning for the upcoming year to talk about coursework and what kids are interested in, what we offer. A lot of times when we talk about new programming opportunities, we don't really know what the student interest is until they actually start selecting coursework. So we'll take a look at all of that. We go through and unpack all of our academic performance data, our MCAP data, because we finally have it in its entirety and we can actually digest it and talk about it. We have summer camps going on for our multi-tier system sports tier 1 and 2. We have our Title I summer school at Lexington Park. We have lunch and learn at the library. We are planning for our new teacher orientation, how we are going to bring on all of our new souls to St. Mary's County and orient them in the way of the mother county. And special education, of course, is doing extended year services, and we have some camps for some kids with some more intensive needs. Supporting services, oh my gosh, their weekly meetings with the directors gather and they just talk about all of the work that's going on. They are painting and transfer pumps and rebuilding chillers, and we're replacing generators, and we're doing floor refurbishments across all of our middle schools. We're doing painting, we're doing parking lot extensions, we're finishing off our security vestibule work so that we'll have 100% of all of our buildings ready to go at the beginning of the school year. We're continuing we have some pictures of the Leonardtown concession stand. Letty Marshall Dent modernization is now in phase 3. A little bit ahead of schedule and going going forward really, really well. Can't say enough about the teachers and support staff and the administrators at Letty Marshall Dent. They really have just moved seamlessly through that. We're continuing with our moving, our pulling down, and/or ultimately having completely removed relocatables. It's amazing. for all my time in St. Mary's County, we have just added relocatables, and once they're there, they just stay on the site, even if they aren't being used as a classroom anymore. And so, we have some of these trailers that have been just storage units for things, and it's time to get them out. We're going to continue that process. Furniture replacement, really exciting stuff. So not only are we finishing floors and painting walls, but White Marsh, Town Creek, and Ridge, when they come in, they're going to have a full suite of brand new classroom furniture. It's really great stuff. It's very similar to what we see at Mechanicsville, going into the little Letty Marshall Dent. And then all kinds of IT work, the stuff that nobody sees that keeps all of our things moving forward. We're doing a lot of that over the summer. And here we have Park Hall, the parking lot expansion, so we can get more people in. There's the Leonardtown concession stand, restrooms. They've gone through. They've cleared the space. They're pouring the footers. Piney Point, HVAC replacement. Everything. If you go into that building, you will not recognize it. We have torn it all up. We're working on it. The Duke Security Vestibule. There's some of that fantastic furniture. And Letty Marshall Dent, again, phase 3. Finance and HR, they've kind of woven those things together. Blueprint, career ladder implementation, blueprint reporting, blueprint this, blueprint that, sending in stuff, getting it back. We're a lot. We're doing financial training for all of our schools again to make sure that everybody understands exactly what the expectations are. My school Bucks is moving into the middle school. This is the part, and Miss McCourt is away at a conference, but this is one of the most challenging times of the year for finance, because they are closing the books on 24. We are opening the books on 25, and I'm hounding her about 26. What does it look like? What do we need to do? How are we going to plan? Okay, so we have enough to get through this year, but what are we looking at for next year? All of that stuff. We're doing an induction program, fiscal year audit, annual service pretty much all that stuff. And the last one that we're doing is a cell phone work group. So we said at the end of last year that we were going to convene together a whole bunch of stakeholders, and we were going to have a cell phones in schools work group where we talk with staff from central office, the principals, school staff, parents, and students. We had our first meeting on the 13th, my birthday. That's what we did for my birthday. Nobody mentioned it was my birthday, so that was great. It didn't have to be sung. Yeah, I know. It was great. And then we had our second meeting. Oh my gosh, today. We had our second meeting today.
I hope it's so, because it looks like Maureen's wearing the exact same outfit.
Yeah, I was going to say, that picture on the top was taken today. So really great conversations where we're talking about, we started with all of the overwhelming amount of data that demonstrates that the cell phone, while an incredibly productive technology tool that makes us feel connected to others and secure, is a real challenge in all high school, middle school, and some elementary school settings. And if you're following the news, Florida already bans all cell phones in schools. California is considering and moving forward, and I just read this morning that New York City public schools, over 1 million students, they look like they're going to be banning all cell phones. So it's the right time to really be talking about it, and we need to make sure that whatever we decide how we're going to move forward with it, we need to make sure that we have everybody in a room and we're talking about it. And from all of the representatives, especially school staff and the parents and the students, they emphasized how important it's going to be once we get it all worked out to communicate, bring people in, listen to what their concerns are, and then come up with a workable plan to help them feel comfortable if their child doesn't have their cell phone with them every second of every single day in schools. And so we're doing great work. When we come back and we convene in July, this will be one of the presentations that we do. We've had a survey that's been out and available. We're working on having a little dedicated Google site landing page that will have the survey and all of our research that people have gone through, as well as the presentations that we've done. So we'll be putting that together in the next 2 weeks, and when we come together as a board in July, this will be one of the major discussions that we have. I see we have a representative from the enterprise. This is going to be one of those things where we really need to make sure that we're talking about it. I know that Calvert just made the decision to ban cell phones and hoodies. I think at their last board meeting. We're going to follow probably a similar suit for cell phones, but we're going to make sure that we're really talking to everybody as we go, because the one thing, so just as a quick survey, have you ever heard of phubbing? You know what phubbing is? Mm-mm. So this term came out, nobody does. I'm the only person in the entire world that knows what phubbing is. So it was over a decade ago, they coined the term phubbing, which is phone, P-H-O-N-E, snubbing. When you snub somebody, like we're having a great conversation and we're like engaged, and you're telling me about, oh, I went and I had the greatest weekend, and I go, oh my gosh, that's really interesting. Oh no, I'm listening. You just said something that reminded me that I saw on one of my TikToks, like whatever, and the official term for it, recognized by Merriam-Webster, is phubbing. So that's the way we want to kind of approach all of this, is talk about how we're present for other people, and how we can work on the things that distract us from really being able to engage with one another, socially, academically, creatively. So that's been a lot of fun. Hannah Heisler is not here this evening, but she was there today. She's been at both of the cell phone meetings. She's actually bringing in students that she knows. This is going to be one of the larger elements of, I believe, Slack. And when we go out and we're talking to elementary and middle school children next year, this is going to be one of the things that we talk about, how to make real connections with people, and that oftentimes we may feel as though we are connected in a digital space. That's not necessarily what any research shows us. And as we see a rise in anxiety and we see kids feeling more and more disengaged, you can really track that back to this. And with the pandemic, coming back from the pandemic, when we were compelling everybody and saying virtual this, and now we need to kind of temper that back and make our message all about how to really enjoy being with other human beings, because that's an integral part of what we're all about. So we'll bring back all of that stuff. This is just a little preview, a little tease to get out there, so that somebody doesn't think that all the other states are considering this and we're down here saying, no, we have a policy and we'll just continue to do what we're doing. We really want to talk about educating our kids and making good social digital citizens. So here we are in June. We only have 1 day left in this month for our employees, because we are on our this is the first of we have 4 weeks where we do compressed work schedule. So we've been here 10-hour days. We have the day tomorrow, and then Friday we are off. July, we come back, and it gets kind of confusing because we are closed on Thursday, but we're open on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday with regular office hours. And then the next 3 weeks are compressed work weeks for our staff, 10-hour days, board meeting on the 17th, and then following that meeting, we'll have a special education teacher virtual job fair that we're recruiting for right now. We're putting it out on all of our social media, saying that if you are a special ed teacher or interested, if you're a teacher and interested in becoming a special ed teacher, wow, do we have a great opportunity for you to join us in St. Mary's County Public Schools. So we'll be doing a virtual a job fair for that as well. So that's all I have. We're really busy. We're really happy. We're really going forward, and it's going to be a great next year. And that's officially my last slide.
Any discussion on the phones other than communicating? For example, cheating, on your tests and stuff.
Oh well, yes. When we talk about the illicit use of cell phones, right, it's exactly taking pictures and sending them. It's cheating. It's accessing other sites, and most importantly, to recognize that The school system has a robust wireless system, and all of our networks. If you have a child who brings in their own personal cell phone on their own personal
Wi-Fi.
data device plan, and the parents don't have any regulations on it and what have you, then that is unfettered access to anything that's out there in the world. And that's going to be one of the things that we're talking about, because we're renewing our investment for one-to-one technology. We're making sure that everybody has an appropriate laptop and digital device that is wirelessly connected to all of the internet resources which we content moderate within our sphere. So we'll be talking about all of that when we bring it back before you. It's going to be, I think it's going to be a really great conversation. And as I told the group today, I come before them as a sinner. I have a very difficult time not having my cell phone in my hand. I find myself at home moving from room to room with the cell phone in my hand, and there's no reason for me to do it other than I definitely probably have an addiction to it, and so
It's an appendage.
it is, and I tell myself, well, people need I need to be able to be contacted at all times. That's not really true. I mean, there are at 10:30 at night. It's probably okay if it's in the other room and I hear it ringing. Like, it doesn't need to be with me physically all the time. So I think it's I think we had a really good second meeting today, and the biggest thing people emphasized is they want to be heard as they come up with, here are the things that I have that make me anxious, and so what can we do to hear them and help set up a system that makes people feel comfortable. So.
And then I have a question also.
Sure.
Just to make sure I'm understanding.
Mhm.
And you said that you're going to have a survey to get more input
Yes.
from the community,
Yes.
well, parents. And,
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That's-
And
is
so
it on right now?
Yeah, so at the end of the year, we
Oh,
pushed
okay.
out the survey to students and to teachers and to parents through School Messenger.
Okay.
And what we heard today was that, we pushed it out in the last days of school, and so everybody said, and we've had thousands of people respond, but we're probably going to take that survey and push it out again so we can again encourage people. And then after we present at the board, at the end of that, we'll also have the survey open so people can continue to provide us input.
Very good. Thank you for that
Yeah, yep.
clarification.
Yep, and that's all I have, and I won't go back to but that's all I have.
Okay, we have no recognition, any public comment? May I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Today's consent agenda consists of the approval of minutes of June 12th, 2024, personnel, administrative and supervisory, and personnel teachers. With that, I move approval of the consent agenda as
Do I
presented.
have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, and I see Dr. Beavers is front and ready
I'm
with
ready.
more construction.
More construction.
More purchases.
Where's presentation?
I saw it.
I saw it too.
Jesse did a nice job. It's in the folder.
Oh, no, I've got it out.
If you just hit present.
I got it. All right, here we go. All right, good evening. So I am here to request that you approve a contract. It's a two-part contract. The first part is job specific. It's to Custom Tech LLC for $954,000 with a contingency of $46,000 to perform a system-wide building automation system controls upgrade. And the second part of this approval is then to establish a contract for installations, repairs, maintenance as necessary, as funding commits for the duration of the contract, which, like all contracts, has 4-year extensions after the first year. So building automation system. So that is, in a nutshell, that is our system to control all of our HVAC components, all of our lighting components, all of those things that we control remotely. Not only can we diagnose troubleshoot, do all of those things. We can also automate. When do lights come on? When do HVAC set points change? All of those things that we can automate, and we can do it remotely. We can do it from home. We can do it from central office. We can do it from anywhere. So it does make us incredibly effective and efficient. The problem is that we have decades-old equipment, and just like all electronic equipment, it has to be upgraded, right? So like your cell phone, if you don't have the latest operating system upgrade, you can't download some of the apps that you want, or some of the functionality doesn't work. So because of some of our antiquated systems, if you look at the slide, we've had to maintain some servers that are Windows-based, 97, XP, Vista. So we've had to keep those servers in place because that's the only way we can communicate with some of our HVAC and lighting systems out in the field. So that also means that our operator has to log into 5 different platforms with 5 different usernames and 5 different passwords in order to access those systems. So we're really, we're getting it done, but it's a struggle with our current system. So this would enable us to put in new field controllers, new supervisory controllers at every single site to be able to strengthen that communication and give us the ability to do everything really that we need to do on one virtual platform, on one server. So Tritium is the company. This is a Tritium-based system. Basically, the scope of work is here. They're going to furnish all of the supervisory controllers for all of our sites, all the field controllers that talk to that supervisory controller that then talks to us through a virtual server. That allows us to do all that. We're also going to get, obviously, software and maintenance for several years to do all of the updates that we need to do throughout the process. Any third-party drivers or anything that's necessary to prevent us from ripping fairly new equipment out of the system that could, if we just modify it a little bit, talk to our current equipment, then we'll do that. We'll integrate those. And then map everything back to the main controller so that we can operate it. And then again, that'll allow us to develop all of these efficiency schedules for lighting and HVAC, and then assist us in troubleshooting. So gone are the days that a technician has to drive to the site to always see what's going on. It could be a very simple adjustment. And then part 2, that is the service contract. And here's a list of all of the services that they would provide. It is not an exhaustive list, but all HVAC work, all HVAC controls work, diagnosing, replacing, fixing, training. They've done some consulting work, our current contract consulting work, really anything HVAC related. This contract covers specifically to control work. So we did put out an RFP per protocol and per policy. That went out on April 28th, or it was approved by the board on April 28th. The request was issued on our May 23rd, posted on email and marketplace. All proposals were due on June 13th, which means 1,700 and so vendors were invited. And the bad news is one company responded. However, we did have an information session, and we did have 2 other companies that attended our virtual Q&A and asked some questions, and in the end they didn't bid on the project. Custom Tech LLC, who we're currently under contract with, they are our service provider now. They did bid on the position or on the contract. We've used them for multiple years. They've done this exact work that the project entails at these schools here: Esperanza, Piney Point, White Marsh, Leonardtown High School, and DSS. We were forced to do those because we had an even older server that couldn't talk to these schools, so we did have to upgrade those. So they've done the work. So it's a good situation that they were the only bidder. I guess competition would be good, but we feel comfortable with Custom Tech. And again, they can start to work immediately. I think it's going to take a year to do the project, so the sooner we can get started, the better. The warranty, manufacturer's warranty is 3 years on all the components, and then they have a 1-year 1-year warranty on labor and workmanship. Custom Tech, they're a local company. They're in Charlotte Hall. Mark Delogier's the owner. He's been doing this for over 30 years. His company's 19 years old. Again, they've done a ton of work for us. He's a master electrician. He specializes in this BAS work. So at the last bullet, they do a lot of work for other businesses and Spotsylvania County schools and some other companies. So we're not their only bread and butter. And then that's kind of it in a nutshell. Are there any questions? This is our facilities manager. This is his desktop, his platform. I was going to tell you I took all day drawing this picture, but I didn't. His daughter Serena did. So, and then you can see on the top right hand side, these are 4 of the 5 icons needed to log into whatever server we're trying to access, depending on whatever school we're trying to access. So, are there any questions? And I request that the board approve this agenda as presented.
The only thing that, I don't know if you have to, but also safety and security as well as integrated.
We have the ability to do that. So once we upgrade this platform, if you go back, this slide here, if you look at the left-hand side, the top 3 are really about the only things that we're utilizing, but you can see the capability for the future if we do upgrade to this type of system.
Yep. Yeah. And that's just the tie-in as we are upgrading and securing our facilities and spending money on camera systems and PA systems and all of these systems. At a certain point, you really have to look at how are you actively putting them all together, and is there a product that can ultimately have us being able to use all this at the same time.
Yeah, I have a question. I can see the benefit of centralized control. What's the downside? If your central servers fail, you got problems, right?
Mm-hmm. You always have access. You always have local access. So whenever we can't access a site now remotely, we can go and tap in to the building's motherboard, if you want to call it, supervisory control, and make repairs there if it's electronic. And then, good old-fashioned HVAC work. Sometimes you have to troubleshoot and move ceiling tiles, and technology definitely makes it easier and can get you in the right spot super quick. If not, make an adjustment remotely. But there are schools right now that we don't communicate with because we can't update. And so for those schools, we do have to send technicians out in the field to do boots on the ground work.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm happy to see that the contract's being awarded to a local company. I'd like to see our money, stay in the neighborhood. Having said that, the only one bid, what's your comfort level that we're getting a very competitive bid from just one company?
Yeah, anytime we have to call like a Siemens or a JCI for some kind of proprietary repair that we have to do, it is always double or triple what we have to pay Custom Tech to do the very same work on a non-proprietary system. It's always at least a third less, half less. And if you look at the one slide where we paid $170,000 to upgrade a handful of schools, and that wasn't to even upgrade all of the field devices. So if you magnify that times every school in the system, it's pretty substantial. So we felt pretty comfortable that this was a pretty competitive bid. And maybe, I can't speak for the other companies that showed up for the Q&A. Maybe they felt like they just couldn't compete with that. And I don't know how local they were. They didn't really identify themselves. They just had a link and they could log in and ask questions if they wanted to. So I don't know specifically how far they were, who they worked for, what their overhead was. A small local company has a whole lot less overhead than these Siemens and
$1 million here and $1 million there. Sooner or later, we'll be talking about real money.
Yeah.
I'm paraphrasing Dirksen,
Yeah.
Senator Dirksen, but it's a lot of money.
It is a lot of money. And the unfortunate part is it's not something that we're going to all stand back and take a picture of when it's over with. It's one of those things where if you don't hear about it, it's working great.
Yeah.
So it will definitely improve our efficiency. It definitely improves our ability to deliver customer service, obviously, to staff and students. But yeah, nobody will see it.
Well, and the other thing is recognize that with the exponential growth of energy costs, electricity in particular,
Yeah.
being able to monitor in real time all sites through one centralized system, to be able to troubleshoot early on when something goes down or something needs to be scrambled, or like as of right now, a lot of times when we have problems with things, we don't have the ability to finesse. We're just running systems wide open, and you know that's an issue right there. So I know that this wasn't emphasized, but one of the things that has been that is a benefit of this is that there is going to be better oversight and hopefully efficiencies to be found with that, especially with like set points.
Yes.
Set points make a gigantic difference in energy draw. And so if you can consistently bring a temperature down just a little bit and bring it up just a little bit and whatever, as opposed to actually, we've learned that you can't shut off systems and then turn them back on.
Right.
And
Right.
it is catastrophic. So.
And well, and the irony, and these things have built-in alarms. So I mean, it's not, one of the first things our operator does every morning is goes through. Well, he has to go through. He has to log in every server, right, and go through and see what alarms are on. This will be obviously a lot easier for him to do.
Yeah.
But it'll tell you when a system's not doing what it's supposed to do. And hopefully, our guys get in pretty early. Hopefully, it's something that we can adjust or repair before anybody even hits the building, if we know about it in time. So.
Dorothy? I got two questions. The first one, this will help with the temperature, like, how one room will be real cold and the other one will be real hot.
So
that
that's
will
that's the nice thing about this system. So if you look at this graphic here, this is similar to what our operator would look at. It'll show you every blower, every fan, what the temperature is going into the system, what the temperature is going out of the system, what percentage the damper's over, drawing in humid air. It might be a matter of humidity in the classroom and the damper's at 50% and we close it to 5. It's if it's working correctly, it's incredibly efficient and gives us a ton of control and ability to kind of iron a lot of those things out. You'd be surprised at how many work orders and heat complaints that we get that can be addressed just with a simple adjustment.
Yeah, you can measure the delta T really effective, on real time, correct?
Yes, it's in real time.
Mhm.
Yep.
And then the other one, this is in the 24, 25 budget.
FY20, it's in
Correct?
FY25 budget.
Yeah,
Yep.
okay. I thought so, but I
Yeah.
wanted to
Yes.
make sure on that. Thank you.
This is
That's
one
it
of
for me.
this is one of the things that in our anticipated end of year closeout monies, we've identified that we would have the money to be able to do this.
Oh,
Yep.
this is fund balance.
So this is actually coming out of within the budget itself.
Yes, it's in the budget. It's part of the money that Tammy moved in at the end.
Yes.
After we had identified what our cost savings were gonna be over
Yes.
the 24
Yes.
school year.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
so this
Like
is not.
Fund
I
balance.
think that's what Scott's trying to
Okay.
say.
Yeah, this is not an additional cost. We don't have to raise taxes. It's not going to be in lieu of something else. Yeah.
I
Yes.
thought it was in the, because I see the line item
Yes.
here for the
Right.
25
Well,
budget.
right, 'cause you
But
have-
that's
yeah,
not it.
well, you have-
It's fund balance that is being
The
used
fund balance
from
was rolled.
24.
The
Oh.
fund balance was
Oh,
rolled
it
in there, so
rolled
that
in
is,
there.
it is
Rolled
in there.
in.
You have the final one.
Yeah.
That's the one that
Okay,
she gave you before
very
we approved
good.
it, yes.
Yep.
Okay, thank you very much.
Mary,
Thank you,
do you have
that's all.
anything?
Thank you again for making this interesting, and I agree with Serena that she says this is so cool, and it is cool. It will help us with our board goal of effective and efficient uses of resources, human resources, and our capital resources. And the other person say, "Good."
Yeah. Right.
So thank you for that.
I
Kathy,
think.
I don't know if you can follow that.
I'm not sure I can. But what I would say is, while there is this cost, there is a sort of the cost avoidance of sending staff out to far-flung places to take a look at something they should have been able to take a look at online and to address, which means that instead of making that long trip to, say, down to Ridge, and figuring out what they need to do, that they're then that much more available to address other issues within the system where they don't have this ability. So thank you very much for bringing this forward. As much as we may not want to spend money, there are times where it is in our best and the taxpayers' best interest to do things and to address it, to take care of it. So thank you very much for bringing this forward. I think it is going to be well spent.
Thank you.
May I have a motion?
Okay.
Oh,
Anyone?
I'll give it to you. Okay, all right. I move that the Board of Education approve contract RFP SMCPS 2025 MBAS award to Custom Tech LLC for the base bid amount of $954,000 with a contingency of $46,000 to perform the system-wide building automation system controls upgrade. Additionally, that the board approve the use of this contract for continued system-wide building automation system installations, repairs, maintenance as necessary, and as funding permits throughout the duration of the contract, which has the potential to be valid through June 30, 2029.
Do I have a second?
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion is carried.
Thank you.
You're making Dr. Beavers nervous there for a minute, you guys.
I know.
All right. So, let's see. Our next board meeting is on Wednesday, July 17th, with executive session at 8 and the open meeting beginning at 9 o'clock. And we are adjourned.